Let's cross up to Alice Springs now and catch up with Jacinta Price. Thanks for joining us again, Jacinta. You and I spoke last week about what you've had to say about Indigenous issues here and some of the divisive rhetoric we've had here imported from the Black Lives Matter campaign. Extraordinarily, the ABC has never been interested in talking to you. Have they come your way since? I know you've been very critical of the way they've covered a lot of these issues.
Look, I have had, well, the Drum just let me know that they're sort of here and they're interested in having me on the program. My local ABC got hold of me the day after I'd spoken on your program to get some of my comments, with regard to a council motion, a local issue, and the idea of changing a street name here in our community. And also went on to speak about the Black Lives Matter movement. So there have been a couple of situations, but nothing significant, I guess, in the debate.
Yeah, it's good to know that they're watching, and we've embarrassed them into actually asking you on. Maybe you can go onto the Drum and you can argue against four others who will have the other different point of view there. But it's worthwhile, I suppose. What is your key criticism of the way they've covered these issues over the past month or so?
Well, one of the greatest criticisms is the fact that there's a complete and utter disregard for black-on-black violence. That's here in Australia, also in the US. And the other criticism, I would say, is in the insinuation that the deaths in custody are a result of white police violence or possibly even murder, instead of providing the facts. And the facts are that the majority of deaths in custody, police custody or prison custody, are a result of natural causes, also, self-inflicted causes, suicide, and those sorts of issues. So
yeah, you're right. So they go for this sort of simplistic and divisive approach. It is a bit ugly. We're tight for time because of technical difficulties here, but I wanted to share with you a little bit of what Eddie Betts had to say the other night. I showed it on the program last night, and to me this is hard to watch because Eddie is such a deeply loved footballer, and he's explaining how, through no fault of his own, he is forced time and time again to put up with racism. Let's have a look.
Open your eyes up and, start to listen and learn and educate yourself, because I'm sick of copping it. I'm absolutely sick of copping it, and, and it hurts, and it deeply hurts. And you think to yourself, why do I play footy? Why should I keep playing footy if I'm going to keep copping this? But, I want to make a change. And the way to keep hurting these guys is just keep playing great footy and keep smiling, and that's what I love doing.
Eddie Betts there was speaking on Fox Footy's AFL 360. It's really sad to see that someone like Eddie Betts is forced to put up with this and see the impact it has on him, Jacinta. How do we deal with that? How do we get rid of this? I made the point last night, of course, we're talking about the minority of idiots and bigots, but how do we stamp them out? How do we silence them?
Well, we just don't give them a platform. We just don't acknowledge that they exist. I mean, I've heard numerous African Americans say, look, just don't talk about the racism. I mean, it exists. It's not just a white against black thing. It exists the other way around as well. And I mean, the way I treat it is as though it's a mental illness that belongs to, but then, that's not fair on people who deal with mental illness. But however, it is the problem of the racist. And Eddie is a champion as far as I'm concerned, and he's a great role model for Indigenous and non-Indigenous people alike. And the focus should be on the wonderful achievements that he's made, and the fact that there are Indigenous and non-Indigenous people out there who, far more people than there are detractors, who think he's a wonderful role model. And I think the focus has to shift on, stop putting a focus on people like, racism and the issue of racism. As I keep saying, one of the biggest issues is the issue of the violence in communities, and that is a far greater issue and far detrimental to little kids than what racism is. Racism, I don't believe, is killing Aboriginal people.
No, but it's very ugly and we don't want to see it, and really only peer group pressure can get rid of it, right? We've got to talk to it to the extent that we need to make sure people know it's not acceptable.
And I think as Australians in general, we've most certainly come to accept that, well, it isn't acceptable at all. And, you know, individuals out there of many different backgrounds can be idiots, let's face it. And we should stop giving the spotlight to such individuals. That's how I believe we should be dealing with it.
Jacinta, thank you. Thanks for sharing your perspective. Love it.
Thanks for having me.